Hey guys, how's it going? Dr. Kurt Ahern here. Just want to take a couple minutes and talk a little bit about something we're starting to see a lot more of in the office, and that's chronic ear infections, chronic sinus infections. We're getting into the time where we're going to be seeing a lot more chronic respiratory infections, bronchitis, pneumonia, kids missing school, kids in and out of the pediatrician's office, kids in and out of urgent care, and kids in and out of the emergency room. So if you're a parent out there who has a child that is sick chronically with ear infections, sinus infections, etc., 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 then this video is for you in the sense that the number one thing that I would recommend or suggest doing this year is stop doing the things that aren't giving you the results that you want for your child. Stop doing the things that you're doing that aren't giving you the desired result. So if you want health for your child and you want something different this year, if you don't want another round of antibiotics, if you don't want another trip to the pediatrician's office, you don't want school days missed, right, then let's start doing something different. And that's the reality of it. So I mean, we might as well have that discussion, because again, the reality of it is kids are chronically sick, and parents, if you're one of them, I can say this because I was one of them. I was one of those kids that was put through the ringer time and time and time and time again, because my parents didn't know any different. So this isn't, shame on you. It's just, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. And it's starting to look at really what the route you've taken up until this point has given you. And if you don't like it, it's time to change it. So up until now, maybe you've done the rounds of antibiotics for your kids' ear infections. It's the number one reason that parents take their kids to the pediatrician is for ear infections. 85% of kids diagnosed with ear infections, all right? And if you take them in, if you've had any experience with this, you take them in to the pediatrician's office, and what does that doc, what does he give you? He gives you antibiotic. And if that antibiotic doesn't work, what does he do? He gives you another antibiotic. So sometimes we'll run across parents, right, that have had 2, 3, 4 rounds of antibiotics, and their kid is no better off, right? Because it's the same thing over and over and over again, and the research tells us that antibiotics, they don't even really work anymore, all right? They've been overused so much that they just don't even work, yet we're continually feeding antibiotics to a kid and expecting it somehow to help and get them healthier. And really, guys, it just doesn't work like that. So maybe you do the antibiotic route, it doesn't work, you go back again, it doesn't work, and then finally the pediatrician says, hey, you know what? Maybe you go see the ENT doc. So you go over to the ear, nose, and throat doc, and he looks in the ears, and he says, yeah, it's a little red. Why don't we do this? Why don't we try putting tubes in the ears? So you say, okay, well, we did the antibiotics, that didn't work, let's try the tube route. So they go in there, they do surgery, they drill a hole in the ear, and essentially what are they doing? They're pushing that infection further and further in to the sinus cavity. Does it drain a little bit? Maybe so, but does it correct the problem? No, that's why it's reoccurring, right? So now you got an infection in the ear that doesn't get resolved. You got a sinus infection as well, because you're burying that infection further into the sinus cavity, and you're frustrated. You're like, it didn't work. Right, of course it's not going to work, because again, we didn't address the cause. We've done the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, and it just doesn't work like that. So the tubes don't work. You got an infection that's now is spread. You go back in. What do? Hey, let's take the adenoids out. While we're in there, why don't we take the tonsils out as well? You don't need your parts, so we might as well just take them out. So you take the adenoids out. You take the tonsils out. Infection's still there, right? Next thing you know, that infection, it starts to work its way down. Now it's down into the lungs, into the respiratory tract. Now we got chronic pneumonia. We got chronic bronchitis. We got chronic respiratory infections, right? You go back in. What do? Steroid-based medications, nebulizers, inhalers, maybe another round of antibiotic. It didn't work in the first time. Maybe it'll work the 6th time around. I don't know. But it's a cycle. And we still wonder why we're not getting the result that we want for our kids' health. And again, the reason, guys, is you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So again, my number one suggestion to you this winter season, this season in general, is to stop doing the things that aren't producing the result that you want for your kid's health. It's time to do something different. So when it comes to a lot of these ENT, ears, nose, throat, infections and such, really what this is, guys, this is just a plumbing issue. All right, it's the fact that the child's nervous system, the child's neck, the child's muscles are so tense, they're so tight. Where does all that drainage go? Is it able to drain and get out of the body, or does it pool? And does that reinfection occur over and over and over and over again? Right? It typically is going to stay stagnant. It's going to keep reoccurring because the lymphatic system isn't allowed to drain properly. All right? So again, what I would encourage you to do as well, in addition to making some dietary changes, right? Things like that, some small dietary changes to your kid, is have their spine and nervous system checked for what we refer to as subluxations. All right? And a subluxation in its most general form is a misalignment and or a fixation of the spine, which then puts stress on the nerves, puts stress on the muscles. Everything gets very tense, right? It locks up the lymphatic system. And where does that infection go? I'll tell you where it doesn't go is it doesn't drain properly. So this is, guys, this is a plumbing problem, right? It's not the fact that your kid needs more antibiotics or, more nebulizers or more inhalers. No more drugs really are necessary unless you want to, right? But the number one thing you do, stop doing what you're doing, all right? If that means go somewhere else, if that means try something different, if that means fire your pediatrician, I don't care, whatever you got to do. But at least have your kid's nervous system checked for interference. Find a pediatric trained chiropractor, one that works with kids, one that is able to explain the anatomy and the neurology in a way that makes sense to you, right? So that you can, for once, get the answers that you're looking for. Not keep doing the same thing, not having to go down that same route that you've gone down time and time again. And really start to get your kids some actual results because you're doing something different and you're actually fixing the problem, right? You're removing the stress here so that everything can drain, right? You're increasing immune function. You're actually fixing the problem rather than just masking or band-aiding the effect or the symptom, which is really what ear infections, sinus infections, respiratory infections, etc., etc., etc. are, is all those things are symptoms. They're an effect, all right? And what chiropractic looks at is rather than treating effect, what is the cause, all right? And if we know the cause, we're more able to say, okay, this is what we need to do in order to get what you're looking for. So guys, hope that just sheds a little bit of information, encouraging words to hopefully try something different these years, this time around, because I was that kid also growing up. 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds of tubes in the ears, countless rounds of antibiotics, and it never worked. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. And my parents just didn't really know, all right? So take a chance, guys. Look at the information. Give us a call. If this information makes sense to you, share it, like it, pass it on, and hopefully this year will be different for you. Guys, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.